Welcome back, everyone, to the Open Up podcast and to episode 43 with another beautiful man, Logan Dodds. We've had about 4 in a row. My man, thank you for taking the time to do this.
No worries, pleasure to be here.
Straight off the bat, how would you describe yourself as a human, and what is it that you do for anyone who doesn't know you?
Have to describe myself as pretty out there, outgoing, fun-loving, just typical Kiwi bloke that was lucky enough to have a fork in the road of my journey that set me on a different path to the life that I lead now, which is doing some pretty cool stuff with some brands and companies, and lucky enough to have a bit of a social media audience that I can use and live my life in some pretty cool ways. So lucky enough to have a bit of a voice in the travel scene and the lifestyle scene out here in New Zealand to be doing some pretty cool stuff.
That's it, my man, and you are doing some epic stuff. But we spoke a little bit beforehand about what you're doing outside of your social media influence, or how you're actually using your voice and your platform to help kids in schools at the moment. Did you want to give us a little rundown about what you're doing with that?
Yeah, so I'm trying to make that transition, just like obviously doing a lot on social media, but trying to use that voice for some good. And so I'm doing a lot of work. I'm a plumber by trade, so was out in the workforce when I was 16. Got actually asked to leave school myself, so straight out in the workforce and into a plumbing apprenticeship, and then from there obviously qualified plumber and out travelled the world. So lucky enough to do and seen some cool stuff with having a trade behind me as well. So I worked as a plumber in the UK and London, as well as playing some semi-professional footy up there as well. So and now obviously with the content and video and photo stuff that I have through social media, we've sort of turned that into about a 45-minute presentation that we take into the schools and sort of inspire these young kids to get into a trade, and trying to balance the perception of like university and their trades, and try and put the trades in the light that it should be, not like, just not a drop kick sort of trade that all these teachers seem to think it is. And if you've got a bit of ticker and you've got a bit of like nous, you can go a long way with having a trade and you can really set yourself up. So, and I guess I can thank where I've got to, we're having a trade and having that foundations, and I can always fall back on work. If Instagram fell through tomorrow, or social media fell through tomorrow, I'd be straight back on the tools, no worries. So it's just giving these kids a bit of an insight, and it's there's a massive shortage of tradies out here in New Zealand. So
okay.
I think the industry needs about 5,000 apprentices to sort of fill that gap. So me and another buddy sort of taking the responsibility on ourselves with Plumbing World, who are backing it and doing some good stuff with them. So yeah, trying to reach as many schools as we can.
I'm stoked you've got that message and you're sharing it. But did you say you were doing 45-minute presentations?
Yeah, so it's like a period of school. So we'll go in and probably try and call like a senior assembly about, well, depends how many seniors or how big their halls are, and just trying to spread that message. So going from kids that aren't even thinking about doing a trade, or probably just think that it's a dropkick trade, to these two young fellas coming in, and we're old enough that they can respect us, but young enough that they can relate to us. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. Like some of the reactions, like a lot of the teachers have been blown away by either like how quiet they are or how engaged they are, and whereas they just usually be like on their phones or talking, or so it's been pretty cool, man. We've had some cool success, and we've had a lot of kids already sign up to a trade, and even we had a female chick down in Wanaka sign up, so it's been cool.
That's awesome, bro. Most people, I'm assuming, would hear 45 minutes presentation to a hall full of seniors and freak the hell out. Was there any fear for you getting started?
The first couple were pretty like it's like anything, no way of practice. But obviously with the stuff that I've done a bit of public speaking. So, but no, it's cool, man. And it's like the kids get hyped. Like, you go in and they go, 45-minute presentation, it's going to be boring as, and we play some videos of like us jumping out of helicopters and hanging out and traveling the world and like really like having a cool life, and all these kids are like, holy shit, like this is cool. So it's it's cool to make a difference. Like, and then at the end of it, they all hang around and talk to us and get photos, and so it's real cool.
It's sick, bro. Like, obviously you would more than likely have that either way, but to have that attached to a message that's actually like super valuable for kids is pretty powerful, man.
Yeah,
Pretty
totally.
smart.
I mean, and a lot of the kids don't even know who we are. Like the other generation, like a lot
Yeah,
of like people my age and that know who I am. But I mean, in New Zealand, it's quite small. But a lot of the kids don't even know who we are. And then we sort of put our Instagrams up and they're like, oh, you got to boo, like it's quite funny.
that's sick. Um, I guess we're gonna go back to childhood, which is where we usually start. Can you give us a quick overview or summary of what your childhood was like and like the family dynamics and stuff?
So I've got one sister. She's 3 years older than me. We sort of grew up on the Hibiscus coast of Auckland, which is on the peninsula. So it's like our childhood house, which we were in for like 18 years, from when I was 2 till 20. You could used to see like the beach from every window of the house. So we sort of grew up on a beachy town, always down the beach.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah. No, we're pretty lucky, yeah. So yeah, we sort of grew up down the beach, summer holidays, camping, Christmas holidays, always camping with like a couple other families. And yeah, just fun, man. It was good, like the good old days, like, they say no phones, just hanging out. It was cool. And then family, yeah, just mum and dad, happy as. My old man worked from home. So he was always in the garage downstairs, which was cool for like the school holidays and that. You used to always get to hang out and go out on jobs with him. And
cool.
And yeah, so no, we're pretty cool, pretty tight with my sis. Obviously, the bit of the niggles and that, like as siblings are when they grow up. But now we're real tight, and she's got a little 7-month-old baby. So it's cool. Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Uncle Lugs.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool, man. So nothing really traumatic at all, like growing up for you?
Nah, pretty. Everything was pretty like just normal family, man. Like normal Kiwi family. Like not well off, not sort of just comfortable the whole way through. Yeah. The old man used to flick us $20 to go to the movies here and there, and so
nice.
Yeah, everything was pretty sweet growing up. Had good school, good friends. So everything was pretty sweet.
Cool, man. I guess we'll fast forward to the first story that you're here to share, or the first struggle. Are you comfortable walking us through that one with your old man?
Yep. Yeah, man. So yeah, I guess it was, I'd started my apprenticeship when I was 16, straight out of school after I got asked to leave. And then from there, straight into apprenticeship. And my old man was like, he left school when he was 15, and he was straight into a trade, so he knew the good life. He was like, hey, mate, like, no worries, leave school, just get a trade. And so, like, I was like, sweet, done. A couple of weeks later, end of sixth form, got into a trade, straight into that new year. And then when I was 18, my old man had a brain aneurysm, just one sort of Wednesday night, just on the couch, just out of the blue. Like, it was, so it's a bleed in the brain. So essentially, one of his blood vessels in his brain burst and sort of flooded his brain full of blood, which sort of, I mean, as you can imagine, it was pretty tough at the time. And he was like fit as, healthy as, used to go to the gym 3-4 times a week, used to go for 5K runs around the block weekly, never smoked a cigarette in his life. So, just one of those things, but man, I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. And it's made me stronger, and it's probably got me where I am today and have the voice that I can now do some good with, which I probably would never had that,
How was it, like, how did that impact you mentally, like, directly after that had happened? Apart from the shock, did it impact you much?
Oh, man, for sure. Like, as you can imagine, it's 18 years old. It's a time when, you need a father figure in your life the most. You're going through, like, all these changes. You need, like, going through girl trouble. You're on the piss. You're in the real world, like, working. These things where you're growing up and you sort of need that guidance, or you need that sort of support. And me and my old man were best mates. He coached me from the age of 5 at rugby to first 15. And so he was, we're always together, always sort of hanging out. And he was a character, like he's such a legend. Just always like having the jokes. All the boys loved him. Like everyone just loved being around him. So yeah, man, it was just a big shock. Like obviously initially, and then like when the dust settled, like getting back into things, and he wasn't around. And it just sort of, just like the whole sort of family dynamic changed. We sold our family house because my old lady couldn't help keep up with it. And my sister moved over to Aussie, so it was just sort of me and my mum back in New Zealand. And then I went overseas traveling when I was 22. So, yeah, I mean, things sort of changed pretty quick, but it's just life, eh? People go through worse, and people don't go through it at all. So it's just how you deal with it and how you sort of, cope with the battles.
Were you open to talking about what it was you were like thinking and feeling at the time with your mum and your sister or anyone else?
Yeah, man. It was like, I guess it was like I used to come home and my old lady was just like in tears, just like, just having a couple of wines and just listening to music real loud, just bawling her eyes out, which was, like I've got a few visions of that, like coming home from that, which was pretty tough. And even now, she still hasn't met anyone, or I think she'll just be by herself the rest of the year. So even like today, like 9 years later, like I still sort of struggle with seeing her alone, and like she was it was her one true love. They were I think essentially sort of high school sweethearts, eh? So that's really tough with my mum at the moment. But she's living a good life. She's happy, and she's just been traveling around the world around Europe for 6 months with her best friend, who actually lost her husband as well a few years ago. So it's awesome that they did that together.
Yeah, she's caught the bug off you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I caught the bug off her. Eh? She's
okay.
Yeah. So the travel bugs in the family, which has been cool.
I think beforehand you mentioned that you like started drinking and going out and stuff to cope with it at first. How long did that last for?
I mean, like every sort of teenagers get on the piss, and but I was using it, and I guess a negative light to try and fill those gaps and trying to get that quick happiness of have a beer, makes you feel good, and then it was the next days, and we'd hung over, and then like we'd just get more down, and like just got myself into a black hole, and it just wasn't a good sort of a time. So, and I was just trying to get that instant satisfaction of like happiness, and like seeing a few girls, and I guess trying to fill the void in that sense. But you quickly learn that doesn't help, and that's gonna end badly. So that sort of ended pretty quick.
Okay, and so where do you go from that point where you're sort of trying to like mask that feeling or get that instant happiness from alcohol? When does that start to change for you, when you're starting to realize, hold on, I can actually be happy without it?
So probably, I guess I felt that, like I recognized I was, after I'd finished my apprenticeship, I recognized that I was like, man, I need to do something for my life. I'm just getting myself in a rut here. And a bunch of my mates they were still at university, and couldn't really, like, they were like, I was like, come on, let's go do something, let's go whatever. They're like, oh, I can't afford it, got no money, still living at home. And so I had a few older mates that were probably like, I'd just go out on the piss with them, and I was just like, I just need to do something. So I had an opportunity to play with some footy over in London, just out of London. So I went over there when I was 22. And I guess I found that love for traveling and experiencing new things, meeting new people, and I sort of threw myself in the deep end. I went traveling for 6 weeks beforehand by myself.
Wow.
And obviously still like drinking and having fun, but like it was just a whole new experience. It was like not the same old. I was meeting new cool people, and like really like it's cliche, but like you go and you actually find yourself, and you like settle into like a young man.
Yeah.
You got your mum's on the other side of the world. You can't come do my washing, sort of thing, and like just small things like that, man. You grow up pretty quick when you got to do your own washing. You got to like fend for yourself, So I think that, and then that's sort of like I fell in love with traveling and got the travel bug. So that sorted me out pretty quick.
Did you have? I can imagine it would have been hard to leave your mum. Like you obviously have that same feeling now. It's hard to see her alone, but I can imagine at 22, after having lost your old man, it would have been hard to leave her and go to London.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I still remember at the airport. Like, it was just me and her, and just hugged each other for like a good. She knew I had to go. Like, she knew it'd been good for me. But we both knew it was going to be pretty tough. So it was. Yeah, I just remember standing at the departures lounge for like 5 minutes, just hugging each other, just crying. But it was pretty cool. She was actually at my first rugby game in London. I can't remember why she was over there, but she ended up coming over and she was at my first game there, so that was pretty cool having her there.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. That's super.
Yeah. No, it was sick.
I think you talked about like the universe and stuff beforehand, and then I think you just mentioned before that everything happens for a reason. Obviously, when you're feeling down, when you're missing your old man, when you're using alcohol to get that instant happiness, it's hard to see why the hell something as traumatic as that would happen to you, let alone there being a reason for it. But looking back now, do you have a reason for that happening? Was there a lesson you can take away from it?
I mean, it's made me stronger. It's made me more resilient to other like battles in life, and it's sort of, made me think like, nothing's an issue, or like, there's a lot of people deal with these things on the daily. And I mean, it's given me the strength to talk about it, to help other people, to help my friends that go through stuff. So I mean, yeah, looking back on it, it's at the time was tough. But even when I was going through that, like I knew my mum's always a big believer in things always happen for a reason, and I had support around me at the time that was sort of instilling that message in me as well. So I was never like really like angry or like, I mean, I was obviously like so like gutted, like he wasn't around and that, but sort of accepted the fact that he wasn't coming back pretty quick, and just to try and make some good of it,
That's awesome, man. Travel. I think like one of the things I wanted to ask about that is, do you feel like you would have travelled if your old man was still around? Because everything would have still been comfortable, hey?
Yeah, exactly. It's I mean, yeah, hindsight's a beautiful thing, eh? But I mean, I guess I probably would have, like, I probably still would have gone and done some stuff, but you just never know, like, what your path would have been. But there's probably no way that I would have been doing what I am now, which, like, I guess that the universe probably had a part to play, and that video that went viral, that was sort of like the kickstart of things. That was the fork in the road. And I think that was like a bit of a, you've had a bit of a shit run. Here's an opportunity, take it by the balls and do what you want with it.
Yeah. And you did take it. But before we jump onto that, I want to ask you about, obviously your dad had this brain aneurysm and you guys didn't see that coming at all. I think you spoke about beforehand as well that you actually had to make the decision whether they operate on him or, and if he does come out that he might be a vegetable, or to just let things flow and see where they go. And now you're doing some work with a foundation, did you say?
Yep. So the Stroke Foundation. So, I mean, that sort of falls under the same category as the brain and the bleeds in the brain sort of thing. So we actually donated, after my old man passed away, we did a golf day and we had a fundraiser. We raised $20,000 for the Stroke Foundation. Awesome. So we we donated that to them, which was really cool. And from then, I mean, like when I initially had got a bit of a social media audience and a voice, I'd reached out to the Stroke Foundation, been like, hey, like this is sort of my story, and I'd love to sort of work with you guys and like help, sort of do what I can to play a part. And they'd known what they sort of seen, and like I'd always sort of talked about my opportunities and like how my dad passed away. So they knew who I was and my story. But then it kind of like 18 months sort of like went by and nothing sort of happened. And then, it was about 6 months ago that they reached out and was like, hey, like we've got a campaign going at the moment and would love you to jump on board and help sort of spread the message. So yeah, so I did a real cool video and talked about it a lot on my socials, and yeah, it was actually really like real feel good as well. Like I had a lot of messages being like super grateful for like spreading the message, and like, you know, like awesome, like best collab on Instagram, you know, like rather than just trying to push a product down people's throats, like actually like spreading good. So yeah, that's pretty good, man. That's some good feedback.
That's awesome, man. I didn't actually realize that you were the one reaching out to be a part of that and to make that happen. What compelled you to do that? Was it a dedication to your dad? Was it to help others? A mixture?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I just knew like that's probably something he would have done. Like he was that kind of guy that would always be looking out for people, or always sort of like, you know, he was selfless in the sense that he'd put others before him. So I just thought it would be like a good opportunity for me to do some good and to reach out, and I'm always looking to do good, you know, with the voice that I've got, rather than just trying to promote products or just show other people how good my life is, you know, like trying to let the other people like inspire them to live a good life and do the best they can.
That's awesome, bro. I think this is a pretty new and a pretty good and profound insight into the sort of person you are, because obviously anyone watching your social media would just assume that the stuff linked with any sort of organization is like scripted and paid or anything like that. But knowing that you reached out because of the feeling in your heart, because you're compelled to help others and to dedicate it to your dad, that's fucking powerful, bro. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. No, cheers. I appreciate that.
You spoke on, or you touched on, the video that went viral, the one that was like a fork in the road that gave you the opportunity, or the universe gave you that opportunity. Did you want to walk us through that, and then we can sort of roll on to your influencer, or the anxiety you get from being an influencer?
Yep. So so that was 2015. So I'd been traveling for 2 years after my old man passed away, and then I actually come home back to New Zealand because, how I mentioned, my old lady had just been traveling with her best friend who she'd lost her husband. Yep. So that was our other best friend, sort of family friends, and her husband got cancer out of the blue as well, and then 3 months later he passed away. So I come back to sort of spend the last month with him, because he was like sort of my second father figure when Dad sort of passed away. So that was obviously another tough time. And then so I came back for about 3-4 months, and then I said, fuck it, I'm going to go back overseas and just finish off my last hurrah, have 6 months of just travels and just living a good life. And, you know, like I'd learnt 2 hard lessons that, you know, life can be taken away from you just in a flash. So I went back over to London and just couch surfed with my mates for 6 months, and jumped on trips. We did about about 6 months in total, on and off. Did Glastonbury, Ibiza, bloody 10-12 countries in Europe, and just and I was just like, fuck, I just wanted to record something, or like have I saw one of the other buddies, he did a Europe video, and I was like, that's awesome, man. I look back on, and like when I was on my dark times, or, you know, like a bit down or a bit at work, and just, you know, just like, I don't want to be here, just look at a video and be like, that was awesome. So so I took sort of that 6 months and condensed it down into a 3-minute GoPro video, just from snippets from each country, and just those moments of pure happiness when I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome, let's record this sort of thing. And then just like had no video experience or nothing. It was my second ever video that I made, and the first one had stills and moving images, like it was just a shit fight. So put some music on, and one of my mates sort of helped me piece it together because I had no idea on iMovie. So it took me forever, and all the footage that I was running was just left it on my GoPro throughout 6 months. Like, didn't even back it up, or didn't have anything, like had no idea. And my GoPro actually shit itself in Budapest for like that trip, and I was like, oh like bugger, I lost all my stuff. Got back to London and started working again, and so I pieced this video together. And I'd shown a couple of the like my mates and that were over there at the time. They're like, "This is like pretty cool. Like, this is you're gonna." One of the Aussie boys, he's like joked. He's like, "Mate, you're gonna be on the bloody Today Show and with Carl Stefanovic." And I was like, "Fuck off, bro!" Like no way. So I posted it on my Facebook it was like I think it was a Tuesday, and it got like 200 likes just on my personal. I was like, "Oh, classic, that's cool." And then the next day on the Wednesday, I just posted it to GoPro's channel. I was like, yo, check out my summer sort of trip. And then that was in the morning. And then later that evening, it had 300,000 views.
What?
So, yeah, it just started blowing up. And I was remember being on my ladder up at work, being like, what the hell? Just my phone was just going off. And I was like, fuck, this is nuts. And then, a week later, it had 1 million views. And then companies started reaching out, and I think Kentucky was the first company that reached out, and then it was crazy, man. It was at a time, and I was just like, holy moly, like this is my opportunity to do something with it. And it was at the time where sort of Instagram and travel was like kind of becoming cool, and 2015, so 3.5 years ago. So I kind of got on that wave pretty early.
Definitely.
Obviously now it's like
as it is now.
Yeah, exactly. So when people started to learn you can travel for free or work with companies, and every man and their dog just jumped on it. So I was lucky to be one of the first people in New Zealand to do that, and very, very grateful for that opportunity. And that was just like my fork in the road, which probably the universe or my old man had a part in playing of being like, here boy, go have that.
And do you feel like because you were a Kiwi that like New Zealand in particular latched on to that, to a Kiwi doing something cool around the world?
Yeah, I mean, like the first people that picked it up were the Aussies, like really? Daily Mail, Daily Mail were one of the first to share it, and then from then like Unilad shared it, bloody every other big news agency did it. But I got picked up as the Kiwi tradie, like the Kiwi plumber, the hot Kiwi plumber was called. So, but I think it was just those like, it was just, and I think like you watch the video now, like shaky footage, it's like. It's not cinematic at all, but it was just like those moments of pure happiness. You watch a video, you get a sense of like, man, this guy's having fun, or like, fuck, I want to go traveling, So it was just like that real genuine feelings of happiness, and that's probably why it like kicked off.
Yeah, just that authenticity, man, and the fact that you weren't actually trying to make that content just to get likes, or just to get sponsorship.
It was just something to look back on and show my friends, like, look how much fun I'm having, you bastards,
That's awesome, brother. Fast forward to now, sort of like what's going on in your world in that sort of social media environment?
So I mean, like as you said,
context, I guess.
Yep. So I mean, at the moment, I've probably got about nearly like 70K. All like collectively, or around that, and I'm working with like about a core group of brands, Heineken, a lot of stuff with Adidas, Sterling Sports, Jim Visa, which I think you guys have got over there. Who else? Samsung, a lot of stuff with Samsung. So I try to keep with a core group of brands, but like you say, it's like very saturated now, and a lot of people are doing it, and all these young kids are growing up with cameras in their hands. So talent that I've got, like straight out of school, and that like it's like I've had to teach myself a whole new industry along the way, like fake it till you make it sort of thing. Like late nights, go to YouTube lessons, like trial and error. Not even backing up my GoPro, like just gone from that to making it into a career now. So I mean. It's been fun, and it's been like a lot of people just look at your Instagram and you go, oh yeah, this kid's bloody rich, or he's just like living it. It's easy as he's living the dream. But man, there's so much behind the scenes and late nights editing, and that people don't see, or like it goes unnoticed. So it's been a battle, but it's like it's been awesome, man. Like it's been such a good ride, and teaching myself a whole new industry, and now I've been lucky enough to have a voice that I can do some good with,
Yeah. Do you still enjoy it, the whole creation side of it?
Yeah. I mean, you do go through like a lot of like with the brand stuff, a lot of it can be scripted and can be sort of like, they try and take control and piggyback off your audience. But my most like successful like relationships are when they go both ways. Like they sort of respect what I do and I respect what they do, and that's when the magic happens as well. They give you that creative freedom to push the boundaries and to do some cool stuff, and that's when it really works. Just telling those real genuine stories.
That's awesome, man. I guess what we were going to talk about is the pressures of actually being someone who has influence on social media platforms, because obviously people are, I guess, more direct and more blunt with their criticisms online, and of course those criticisms from people worrying about what they're going to think will impact how you think and feel as well. Is there anything you've been throughout this journey within social media?
I'm pretty lucky. I've had I'd say 90% of my feedback has been pretty good, positive. I mean, there's always going to be the haters out there. There's always going to be the keyboard warriors that who's this idiot, or it's, and not I don't battle it that much. Like my best friend Sean Johnson, he's just gone through a whole few months of it, and he cops it so bad. So I look at that, I'm like, I've got it so easy compared to you. And he's just
yourself too.
Oh yeah, he's just on a whole other level of he really just battles with it, or he deals with it really good. But yeah, I guess it's the downside of social media and the internet. Anyone can just be boom, straight at you.
Yeah. And so,
but you just got to.
How do you deal with that? For my process, and I'm not even someone who has a wide-ranging influence yet. My process is just seeing those people as people who don't understand how to deal with what they're going through at the moment, so they take it out on you. Obviously, they're either envious or upset themselves, but how do you cope with that? Because I know, especially as we grow and digital becomes the mainstay, how we communicate, kids will go throughout this process where they're torn about how to deal with it. Can you give us an insight into how you do?
I guess I just look back from where I've come, and be grateful for that. I was on the tools, just not that happy, and I was always man, there's got to be something else. Surely my life's not going to be like this for the rest of my life, and so I always think back of those times and be look where I am now, and be man, I've done a lot of cool things. I'm lucky enough to get paid to do some cool things. So I'm just gratitude and just taking nothing for granted. There's always going to be parts of the job. I don't want to be unblocking a toilet, but you got to do it when you're on the tools. And there's always parts of the job that no one likes. So I just look at it like that, and then just try and not let it bug me. But again, there's always some of those anxiety with the posting pressures, and always got to be posting at this time, or it's tough for me. I can't take a break, because if I take a break, the algorithm does me over. You just fall to the bottom of the pile, and then you got to climb yourself back up. So if your engagement slips down, the algorithm notices that, and it's so I mean, that can be a battle, and that can be tough. But it's like anything, you just got to go with the stream, go with the times, and just be adaptive, and change on the spot.
How do you stop yourself from burning out, having to create and post so often?
I mean, that is a battle, and that's probably something as what I deal with the most as well. Being I haven't posted this week, or I need to get more content, or So I mean, I just look at it as a job. Devote some time. This week I'm going to go shoot here. I need to go shoot X, Y, and Z. Organize it, plan it, and then just doing cool stuff as well. A lot of the best content comes when you're on the run, or just happy, or just got your camera in your hand and boom, boom, boom. Or so I think a lot of summer, a lot of cool stuff will come from there. And again, it's just those moments of happiness as well. Which we spoke about earlier. Just trying to capture those, and and that's the genuine stuff, which probably goes the best, like in terms of likes and engagement. And that is when people like, it's not prescribed, or it's not like too posy, or
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I think you said beforehand as well that like the thing that helps you is being yourself and being authentic with what you post. Is it hard to stay aligned with that at times?
I mean, it's just yourself, bro. Like, you've just got to be yourself. A lot of people, well, you probably see it a little bit, that people, like, if you meet them in real life, you're like, holy damn, like, you're different to probably what you come across on social media.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, people play it. Some people use it as a business. Some people use it as a popularity thing. A lot of people, and I don't know, all these things, these third-party apps you can buy these days that buys you followers and likes and all that sort of shit. Like, cheats never prosper. You just got to look at it for what it is. Get value out of it. For why do you follow the people you follow? Are they giving you like positive messages? How are they making you feel? And if it's negative, or if it's like not doing you any good, like, unfollow, see you later. Like,
yeah. And I think your message for me, like as someone who consumes your content on Instagram, and I have for a while, your message is like a sense of fucking wonderment, like with the world. Like, oh shit, I didn't even know places like that existed.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. It's good to hear it outsider's perspective.
It's cool, man. So keep doing you. But like the last question, I guess, within this story is, how did you come to a point where you're actually comfortable being yourself, so that you're not swayed into like pretending or creating a mask or an identity to garner followers and to make money? Is that something that your parents instilled in you, or something you've learned?
Yeah, I mean, I've always grown up as being like that that kid that will always say the inappropriate stuff, or like have the laugh, or be the joker. So, I mean, I don't mind like the attention, or I don't like, I enjoy it, or I'm quite an extrovert, so I thrive off other people, and I thrive off that sort of stuff. So, I mean, I just try and be myself, and there's obviously going to be those times where people don't like what you do, or the boys give you shit, or, it's all part of it. Just try not take it too seriously, but obviously when there's money involved and like it's livelihood and that. But for me now, like I'm nearly 28, so it's going to become a time where I can't travel for, get to all these cool places, and I've just bought a house, so there's a mortgage, so that's going to restrict me. And you grow up, you're not going to be this young hot tradie anymore. That's why people followed you, but that's why I'm trying to use this voice and do some good with it, and transition from what it was to still being me, but doing some good, and just trying to still spread a positive message, and use it for some good.
You are doing good, bro. I'm excited to see where you go. I've got a few questions, and then we'll wrap up. What would you say the quality of your life is like now?
Very happy, comfortable, and just grateful. A, to be here, and B, just to be happy and living a good life. Having loved ones around me, supporting me, and just being able to give my message back as well. It's a great feeling to, especially with kids and that, seeing them smile, or see them like gone from. I had a message from a kid who we spoke at a school the other day, and he said, "Thanks so much, mate. Like, they really inspired me." And I took a screenshot and sent it to the teacher, and he said, "This kid's been suspended in and out through the year. One of the hard ones to crack. You've just got through to him in a 45-minute presentation." So that sort of stuff, like, makes me really feel really good. And stuff with substance,
providing actual value, hey?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what social media should be, man. Not like trying to make people jealous, or look how big my dick is, like, just fucking.
I'd lose that battle every time, mate.
Hey, me too. Trust me, me too.
What have you added to your life or removed from it that's improved the quality of it, bro?
I think my mindset, is like, it's probably like, it's a powerful thing, man. Your mindset, And I guess the more in touch I come with like the universe and that sort of like spiritual sort of side of things, the more I see the rewards, or the more I can, like, if I'm negative, I can really notice that within my lifestyle and my mindset. But whereas I'm positive and and I'm manifesting things and I'm like happy and like really like got a positive attitude, that sort of side of it, really like I notice it. So the more I get in touch with that, the more I like see it sway both ways. But I think my mindset, man, like it's such a powerful thing, dude. Like you could be, that they say money doesn't buy you happiness, but my biggest goal in life is just to be happy. You could have no money, but you could have good people around you. If you're happy, man, what does it matter?
That's it. How are you going about
how
are you going about changing that mindset or improving on it? Any like tips or tools or modalities that you're using?
I mean, like me personally, if I'm working out, fit, healthy, eating good food, that really helps me. So I'm like, I'll be at the gym at 5:30 every morning,
Cool.
having cold showers, and just really trying to just use that sort of side of it as well. And then from that rolls on, that's rolls on to the positive sort of stuff, the happiness, the mindset, like it all goes hand in hand.
Cool. With the showers, I guess just touch on that. One of the important things about the showers, especially like with the Wim Hof method, is those external stresses, like learning how to deal with that cold water and teaching yourself how to breathe, so that when you're alone, when you don't have those external stresses and you have that internal pain, that you can coach yourself into how to breathe through all that sort of shit. So that's super powerful.
Totally, yeah. It's just that controlled discomfort. I actually met. I actually met Wim Hof last week. Flew over to Melbourne and did his seminar. Yeah, I was lucky enough to meet him, and yeah, he's a rooster. And that's another tool that's helped me immensely over the last 6 months. Is that method, and the breathing and the cold showers and the ice baths and that, and that controlled discomfort of putting yourself in those situations. And you change those thresholds of like when you do get into those stressful situations. You change those thresholds to be able to deal and balance things out a bit better.
That's awesome, bro. Have you read or listened to David Goggins' book "Can't Hurt Me"?
No.
Oh, bro, you got to. I just finished it.
Really?
It'll change your fucking life, man.
Oh,
Straight
shit.
up.
What's that about?
It's pretty much those thresholds, but he talks you through him doing 3 hell weeks and like doing marathons of broken feet.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but he talks about the importance of that, embracing the suffer or the suck.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's making positive out of the negative, eh?
Yeah, that's it, man. What are you most grateful for right now?
Just grateful to be happy, bro. I guess grateful to live the life that I do, and grateful to be in a position where, like to be in the top percentage. If you've got a roof over your head, you've got food, you're showered, you're loved, in the top like 10% in the world. Grateful to live in New Zealand and like be around bloody amazing scenery and being able to walk 5-10 minutes down the road to a beautiful beach where there's not many people on. And yeah, just grateful to be happy, eh?
That's awesome, man. Knowing that everything you've been through so far within your life, and knowing that you have this influence and this platform and this voice, do you have an understanding of, or do you have a mission or purpose for your life at the moment? Do you have a higher vision?
I guess as I said before, just be happy, eh? Like, and just do some good, and just always have things that push me and make me to be a better person, and to just to give back knowledge, experience, and just being able to share my story, I guess. Awesome, and just doing some good with that, eh?
So it really centers around providing value to people then?
Yeah, totally. And just always having something that, you do stuff and that feels good within you. And just always having stuff that's ticking those boxes.
It's so simple, but it's powerful, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Last question. If you had the chance to put a message on a billboard somewhere in the city in Auckland where, you know, thousands of people would see it, what would that message be?
What is it? If you could kill them with kindness, probably. Eh?
That's cool. Never had that
Yeah.
one before.
Hey. Yeah, kill them with kindness. You know, if you can be anything, be kind or be nice. Like, fuck, there's too many idiots out there trying to, you know,
Yeah.
just
And
be happy.
That's super relevant to the space you're in as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I'd try and say that most days to people, you know.
Yeah. Be greater than the haters, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess to wrap up, bro, I want to acknowledge you for taking the time to do this in the first place. Had a bit of a fluff around, so you really worked to make this happen. So I appreciate that big time, bro, knowing how busy you are creating all your content. But what I really want to acknowledge you for is for being so vulnerable and open to sharing your story, knowing the position you're in, the influence and voice that you have. We need people like you, obviously the hot tradie. You're inspiring kids in the schools to get into trades, doing that work with the Stroke Foundation, I think you called it. I'm just really grateful that someone like you is doing what you're doing and sharing your message, bro. Keep using that voice.
Bro. No, man, appreciate it, man. Really, really effort. Thanks for having me, eh?
Cheers, brother. I'm going to end the call now.
All right, bro, legend.
Catch up.
See you later, bro. Thank you.